and welcome back to another installment of our MATLAB tutorials. Uh, after doing the graphing one, I wanted to talk about, after doing the graphing tutorial, I wanted to talk about some data analysis, because that's usually what you end up doing after graphing. So I'm just going to run this again, show you what this looks like. Let me change this to have x of t on the top and y of t on the bottom, just to keep consistency. And there we go. Finally got that subplot down for the concurrent viewers who had to sit through that, but there it is. And so now I'm going to talk to you about some things you can do once you get your sets of data. So obviously t, we know what that is. I can just show you as well. We went through the columns of it, and we can see it in the bottom. Or this is x. Yeah, this is x and y because I suppressed t. So t, we have our 1 by, I think it's 101. Yeah, it's 1 by 101, and that's denoted as a double. That's good to know because there are certain things that you can do with a double, and that can really help. So definitely get to know what you can and can't do with the double or any of that. That's kind of beyond the scope of this data analysis. So hope maybe I'll look into doing a video about that, but that's just an idea. So some things that you can do, some things that I've used before. So basic Excel data, we see that's exactly what I was going to talk about. Not this exactly, but how to do how to get this into something like Excel where you want to analyze your data. Now, sometimes you don't want a row of 101 elements. You would rather have a 101 one column. You just want one column with 101 elements. So to do that, we're just going to transpose it. And if you saw the previous video, you know what transpose means. And so there we have that. And then we can just go and copy the whole thing and put that into an Excel doc, and that can make it easier. So that's just one thing that you can do in this data analysis. We also have our x values. So we see our displacement. So let me just transpose this. All right, and we can see that we can switch between our two and get a feel for what we're our actual data rather than just a figure of it. So we can see it like, oh, at point 10 we traveled 11.8 meters horizontally. So we can go to point 8 and we can see that 0.7 seconds has passed. So we can also do this for y. Again, just transpose, and we can look at variable 8 or 0.8 where we have traveled 32 meters in the vertical direction. So that's one thing that you can do as far as some data analysis in MATLAB. Looking at your variables, you see the workspace down here for it. It'll show all your different variables and things like this is just a value. So these will all be doubles. Again, it's important to know what kind of variable it is. And once we go through here, another cool feature that we can do is we can look through here. It'll actually tell you up here if you can't see this, but let me show you another thing. You can also sort. So we can see what our lowest value is, and we can also see what our highest value is. Now, this, it doesn't correlate over with this, so sometimes it does. You will have to so you'll then have to resort it by we can go in here and clear that, or we can hit clear. Now it tells me it doesn't exist, so that means I have to run it again. So it's just basically just like a reset button. So We can then go looking at y and see. Sometimes it's easier just to see it if you transpose it. We can see where that 120, where that maximum is. And we can see that it's around, we see our maximum 121.8 is around the 55 mark. So we would go into our t, look at our 55 mark, transpose it to make it easier. So we see we've traveled the maximum horizontal distance when our at a 5.4 second mark. So that's pretty cool. And trying to think, I think that's all that I wanted to go over as far as some data analysis. This is just for this problem specifically, but that's kind of how to use the workspace in congruency with your plots, just to be able to analyze it a little bit. I think I talked a little bit about like hovering over it with a cursor, and you can also put in like I think data labels is the correct term for it, and so that'll help with showing, and you can click and drag. You can also put in multiple, and then you can go and delete all of them or just the current one if you don't like it, so things like that. We can move around our data with the little hand, and then we can zoom in, zoom out, and do a bunch of cool stuff in here. So there's a lot. I'll just mess around. Let me see what this. So we got a color bar now. It's pretty cool. We can also turn that off. So we can add a legend. We can do a bunch of things. And this is if you didn't already have a Y label, you can do it in here. Things like that. And then just click off of it. There you go. Yeah, so you can see there's a bunch that you can do in here. I'm not going to cover it all, but just as far as like the basics, those are some things that you can do. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to cover. I hope this provides you with some helpful insight on how to analyze your data, and good luck.